He's breathing, no?
Yep. I'm inside.
Okay. Holy shit, there's a fucking army! Before we start, let me remind you that everything you need will be in the description. I forgot to mention this in the last video, and some of you were confused in the comments asking for one of the many things I like to shove down the description. I've also recently made a Discord that'll have all my gun builds in one of the channels. Just control F the channel and search for the gun you want. To find the most optimal weapon, we first have to look at every round that's accessible to us. And at trader level 2 we don't have many options. We don't want to pay egregious amounts for rounds off market, so we'll see what traders have in store for us. With trader level 2 we only have 4 or 5 rounds that are relevant. 760 PS coming in at 35 pen and 57 damage. The 3545 variants, PP, BP, and BT, all in between 36 pen to 40, with 42 to 45 damage. And finally 85681 with 37 pen and 54 damage. 762 PS, this round used to be really competitive out of an RD701. Unfortunately it's been banned by Nikita, so is it good out of an AKM? No, not really. Recoil in AKM is way too high to reliably full auto with parts that can be obtained with level 2 traders and flee for a reasonable price. Pick 556. 545 BT with 40 pen has been taken off market. There are 2 barter trades for it, giving you 120 rounds per reset, but it's pretty pricey for 40 pen and 42 damage bullet. BP and PP average from 400 to 500 rubles, which brings more value to the table. But here's the issue with all these 545 rounds. Low damage. Due to damage reduction and effort penning armor, these rounds will never 2-hit thorax against anyone wearing class 4 and above. Whereas 85681 at 54 damage, if it pens twice, it will kill, even after damage reduction. This is purely base damage too. If we're counting RNG, then 85681 has double the fragmentation chance of 545. It can be bought from Peacekeeper 2 after doing the easiest quest in the game for $4 per bullet, which is around 450 rubles. Now that we've chosen our ammo, it's time to pick a gun. M4 and HK is off the table because it's way too expensive to build, so we have MDR, SCAR, AK-102 or 101, and the new G36. If you see my budget 556 video from last wipe, everything in there still applies to this wipe, so our competition is between the SCAR L and the G36 because it's new. Looking at its hidden stats, the SCAR L is a clear winner in both dispersion and convergence. So let's take a look at real world recoil at 10 meters. Both of these builds are at around 100k rubles. I want you to ignore vertical recoil and focus on horizontal because horizontal is out of our control, and we can always compensate for vertical. SCAR L's grouping is clearly tighter, but here's the kicker. I'd rather shoot at G36. Why? RPM. Previous wipes, people preferred HK over M4 despite having higher recoil and lower ergo because of 50 RPM. And the G36 versus SCAR L is the exact same case. The G36 has higher recoil than a SCAR, lower ergo than a SCAR, but 100 more rounds per minute. So let's take a look at the builds. When purchasing a G36 off market for 45k, make sure you grab one that has a scope. It NPCs for around 10k rubles and that's a solid 25% discount on your base gun. With traders at level 2, grab a G36k V stock off of mechanic. A Thunder Beast suppressor with tip off of market, and a top rail to mount optics. I like the one that has flip up sights because it sits a couple millimeters lower, but it's Peacekeeper 4. A standard G36 sight mount is Peacekeeper 2. After calculating everything that can be sold off of a base G36 from market, your total should be around 100k rubles. The downside to this build is the lack of flashlight options. You can't have a laser flashlight combo. You have to choose between having a laser and IR, or just a flashlight. And if you do go with laser, then you have to fiddle with your optic to get it high enough to look over your pec box. I like running an EOTech with a La Rue Picatinny riser, but that's pretty expensive. You can run a Cobra or a Crochet if your budget is tight. Moving to level 24 you'll have Peacekeeper 3. From here you can slap a bipod onto your current build for a couple points of recoil and ergo, or build a shorty 2-vent G36 for much more ergo. The short build comes in slightly more expensive at 115k rubles. Once you have Peacekeeper 4 you can build a medium length 4-vent G36. Try them all and see which one you like, they're all pretty similar. The best one stat wise in my opinion is the shorty 2-venter, and that's because it has much higher ergo with a tiny increase in recoil. If you don't care about ergo, Hera Arm CQR can fit on a 4-venter. Personally, I like running the long barrel, the worst variant, just because I think it's cool. Now I know what you're thinking, looking at the stats it doesn't look like a good gun, so why am I advocating for it? Well at 750 RPM, its DPS is much closer to an 800 RPM M4 rather than all of its 650 RPM cousins. And for around 100k rubles, it's impossible to build an M4 that performs anywhere close to a G36. Let's compare a 100k ruble G36 against a 260k M4. And yeah, the M4 is obviously better in terms of vertical recoil, but let's take a look at the horizontal cluster. Pretty similar, right? So if you can control your vertical, you can easily match the performance of a gun that's over double in cost. Here I was full auto my G36 on top of the Titus M4 spreader while controlling vertical, and it's very competitive. It's not like there are no cons though. The biggest glaring issue is the lack of ergo and the problems that come with it. Having lower ADS speed can mess up your fights in between close and mid-range. However, situations where lower ADS speed would matter can be overcome by getting better at point firing as long as you have a laser. Holding ADS is another issue. If you're an angle hold enjoyer, you can't stay ADS for long. This is only a problem for me when I try to do shootable in heaven. Very rarely do I encounter this. But all these issues also apply to 416, FAL, and M1A enjoyers, so what's the takeaway here? Well, these problems can be overcome by skill, which doesn't make the weapon bad, but it does make it finicky. So if you're just a casual Tarkov player, no disrespect, and you want to just have a good time without getting better at the game, then maybe run a Scar L, as its recoil is easier to handle and you don't have to adjust your playstyle to slower ADS speeds and shorter hold times. But if you want to run a weapon that's more effective but requires a higher skill floor, then pick the G36. It'll make you a better player overall as it forces you to pay attention and adapt to game mechanics, like controlling vertical recoil, knowing where your point fire goes, and forcing you to think about your next step as you can't hold ADS forever. Most importantly, it's a relatively cheap gun. Dying with it isn't a big deal, so it's a great weapon to learn a game with and not a crutch if you want to improve. As always, I hope you learned something. Join the Discord, gun builds will be up shortly, so don't panic if you click this video too fast and there's nothing in the gun builds channel. Comment, like, sub, bell. Follow me on Twitch for 750 RPM live, maybe Twitter too. Thanks for watching. Normally I would commentate this next part, but with the comms, I don't think it's necessary.
Yo, what is this guy doing? He's just crouched there. Also, I swear there's a guy on our right.
I think
right.
he's behind you guys in the
Yeah.
bushes.
Yeah, this guy on our right here. I'm gonna lay him out. Mark it.
Oh, one?
What the fuck?
I called it, dude. One more.
There's probably one more.
Yeah, Pat got him.
I'm pushing left. That guy's juiced, dude.
Dude,
Hey.
I called that shit.
No, we heard, but I thought I was hearing double. You know?
What the fuck? What is this guy? Hold on.
Dude, he's juiced. Look at him.
Yeah, actually? No, he's not. What the fuck are you talking about?
Did you dome him? I'm gonna switch helmets.
No, I
Unless
did
you
not.
wanna use it.
I did not.
Whoa, whoa! I'm being shot at from tank,
might be the guy.
tank.
That might be the guy who saw you guys, or you're stalking or whatever.
You good?
No, I'm not good. Me.
You shoot them first, Dylan?
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
I'm mag dumping.
What the fuck?
I'm getting tagged from...
From fucking power.
Yeah.
What a shit show, dude.
Whoa!
He's dead.
No, he's not. He's bleeding
What?
right now.
I shot him in the head.
I shot him in the head too.
Watch this. I'm gonna fucking thread this right into his ass.
Yeah. Thread it.
Fuck.
What the hell? Why did my guy start shooting?
What the fuck was that, bro?
He's breathing, no?
Yep. I'm inside.
Okay. Holy shit, there's a fucking army!
Hold it.
One more.
Throwing it. He's dead.
He's on the left. He's left when you go up. He's deep.
He's dead. There's a fucking family in here!
I know! What the